Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS Saints Chiefs Monday Night Football in Arrowhead. As far as this weekend, same thing as always. I got crushed on college football Saturday, made a chunk of it back on NFL Sunday. This NFL Sunday wasn't as explosive as the previous two. I was 15-3 on my last two NFL Sundays. This one wasn't quite like that, but still a solid day of betting. The NFL continues to be good to me, and college football, man, it's stealing hours of sleep for me. And a lot of people are commenting like, yo, don't beat yourself up over it. That market's really tough. A lot of people are getting rinsed this year. And I always respond like, yeah, you're right. But in my head, like, I'm stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. Got to laugh to keep from crying when it comes to college football. But let's keep it positive. This is an NFL video. NFL's been good. Saints, Chiefs, Monday Night Football. Let's roll.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
All right, like I said, we got Saints on the road in KC. Chiefs laying 5.5. It's pretty much been at 5.5 all week. Total sitting at 43 or 43.5, depending on your sports book. Take a look at the pie charts, and according to this data, action was coming in heavy on the New Orleans side all week. Seems to be evening out now. As of Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're looking pretty 50-50 split. So some late action coming in on Kansas City. Again, that's according to this data. Take it with a grain of salt. Real quick head-to-head history. The Saints have actually won here at Arrowhead. They're 3-2 in their last 5 trips to Arrowhead. 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. That's dating back to like 1998, though, so who cares? The under has cashed in Saints-Chiefs games. 1-3-1 in the last 5. But honestly, who cares? It's a good way to start the video. So let's get into this matchup. We'll start with the Saints offense. We've seen night and day differences here. Weeks 1 and 2, they were looking like the best offense in the NFL. Over 45 points per game, over 55% success rate, 7.2 yards per play. That's in weeks 1 and 2. Since then, though, just 18 points per game, down to 4.9 yards per play, 41.2% success rate. So no question, we've seen a huge drop-off in production here. And you might be thinking, well, Kyle, did they play a couple of tough defenses? No, they've been playing ass defenses this entire year. They've yet to play a tough defense. Here are the Saints' opponents so far this year, and it also says their defensive DVOA rating and their defensive EPA rating. Carolina, 24th, 26th. Dallas, 27th, 23rd. Philly, 26th, 28th. Atlanta, 18th, 22nd. So the Saints are really yet to see a good defense so far. Something I do think we need to take note of here. So the Saints lost their Pro Bowl center, McCoy, after week 2. Look at the differences in these numbers here from Derek Carr. Time to pressure goes from 3.04 seconds to 2.33. That's a dramatic difference in the last 2 weeks. Time to throw is down. Average depth of target, 9.5 to 7.5. Yards per attempt, 11.36 to 6.25. Passer rating nearly in half. So I'm not saying McCoy's out. That's the reason. But no question, since McCoy has gotten hurt, their Pro Bowl center, we've seen a real dip in production offensively from the Saints. So your next question may be, well, is McCoy back? No, he's still on the IR. He's going to miss another game. Also, Ruiz is still out. The right guard, he missed last week as well. He was there in week 3, not week 4. So they're missing their center, their right guard. It actually gets worse than that. Lucas Patrick missed Friday and Saturday's practice. He may not play. He's the left guard. Fuaga's listed as questionable, but I think Fuaga's going to play. So I think Fuaga's good at tackle. But Lucas Patrick hasn't practiced. And also their backup guard, I forget his name, the guy that would be starting in Ruiz's spot, he's been ruled out. So the third guard is actually out. So Saints, serious offensive line problems right now. Now, when we look at the Saints' offensive numbers on the year, they look excellent because they were so good in weeks 1 and 2. Look at their passing numbers. 4th in yards per attempt, 4th in EPA, 7th in DVOA, 18th in success rate per dropback. These are a little bit misleading because weeks 1 and 2 are just skewing them. This offense really hasn't been that good the last couple weeks, and with the offensive line problems, I'm a little worried about it. And you can kind of say the same thing for the Chiefs defense in the opposite way. So the Chiefs pass defense not looking too great here on the season. 19th in yards per attempt, 21st in success rate per dropback, 15th in EPA, 19th in pass defense DVOA. But look at the Chiefs' first 3 opponents. I mean, week 1, Baltimore 10th in EPA per dropback, Cincinnati 8th in EPA per dropback. They might even be better than that. That passing attack looks great. Falcons 9th in EPA per dropback. Their first 3 games were against top 10 passing attacks. So yeah, your pass defense numbers might look a little shitty if you open up the season against 3 top 10 passing attacks. So I'm not too worried about the Chiefs' pass defense right now. This is one of the best pass defenses in the NFL last year. Yeah, off to a little bit of a rocky start, but like I said, it hasn't been the easiest schedule for the Chiefs' defense. Now, one thing you know you're going to get from Spagnuolo and the Chiefs' defense is a pass rush. They're 12th in pressure rate on the year, 7th in pass rush grade, just 23rd in adjusted sack rate. So they've been generating consistent pressure, haven't really recorded the sacks as of yet, but the pass rush has been effective. When you look at Derek Carr's numbers, when you look at his splits, when given a clean pocket and when pressured, it looks like he's been handling the pressure well. He's actually 6th in the NFL in pressure to sack rate. Yards per attempt, passer rating, turnover-worthy play rate, these numbers look fine. Looks like Derek Carr's been handling pressure well, but look at the last 2 games without McCoy at center. We're talking night and day difference here. First of all, he's being pressured at twice the rate. He was pressured on 18.6% of his dropbacks in the first 2 games, 37.9% in his last 2 games, and his numbers when pressured have fallen off a cliff. Completion percentage from 66.7% to 40%. I won't read through all these, but just look at this. Look at this chart here. Look at this graphic on the screen. Yards per attempt, way down. Touchdowns, interceptions, way down. Passer rating, 149 to 30. So when you look at Derek Carr's numbers when pressured on the full season, they look pretty good. But when you take a little bit of a closer look, it's a little concerning. He hasn't handled pressure well in the last 2 weeks since McCoy got hurt. So I'm not sure how much faith I have in Derek Carr at Arrowhead here. Looks like it might be a tough matchup for the Saints passing attack. But maybe we're spending too much time talking about the passing attack because the Saints actually lead the NFL in run frequency. This is a team that wants to run the ball. They're first in run frequency. So why don't we look at the matchup for the Saints run game? Well, the rushing numbers on the year look pretty good. 18th in yards per carry, but the deeper metrics indicate that this has been a good rushing attack. 5th in success rate, 5th in EPA, 7th in rushing DVOA. But they're definitely going to have their hands full here because the Chiefs' run defense out of nowhere looks really good. They're 3rd in the NFL in yards per carry. Remember, this was the weakness of the Chiefs' defense last year. They were like a bottom 12, bottom 10 run defense last year. This year, they're looking like maybe a top 5 run defense. 3rd in yards per carry, 14th in success rate, 8th in EPA per rush, 2nd in run defense DVOA. They've done an excellent job defending the run. Yes, they started off the season struggling against Baltimore. They allowed 185 rushing yards in that game, 5.8 yards per carry. Most of that was Lamar Jackson, not Derrick Henry. In fact, Derrick Henry didn't really do much in that game. But look at the Chiefs' run defense numbers since then. Just 70.7 rushing yards allowed per game, 3 yards per carry in the last 3. In fact, look at these numbers here. Lamar Jackson against the Chiefs, 16 carries, 122 rushing yards, 7.6 yards per carry. Every single other opponent that's taken a carry against the Chiefs, 87 carries, 274 yards, 3.15 yards per carry. So if you remove Lamar Jackson, nobody has been able to run the ball on the Chiefs so far this year. Something I will say, though, if you're betting the Saints, if you like the Saints here, something you like to see, they actually do a lot of zone running. They're 2nd in zone rushing frequency. Pretty good at it, too. 13th in yards per carry, 4th in success rate. The reason I'm bringing this up, the Chiefs' defense has been much stronger against gap concept runs. 5th in yards per carry allowed, 6th in success rate per rush against gap concept runs. Against zone runs, I mean, they're not bad, just not nearly as good. So the fact that the Saints pretty much run exclusively with zone blocking schemes, this is solid. That's a solid angle for the Saints. But again, the offensive line is so banged up, so I don't know if you really count on the Saints' run game being there, but if you're looking to bet the Saints, that is something for you. As a whole on this side of the ball, the current state of the Saints' offense, the way it's looked the last couple weeks, the way the Chiefs' defense has been playing, don't have a ton of faith here in the Saints moving the ball on the road in this one. But now let's flip it over to the other side, and this is where we can find some value on the Saints. If you're looking to bet New Orleans, you're more looking at this side of the ball. Obviously, as I'm sure you know, Rashee Rice is still out, and he was such a huge part of the passing. He was the entire passing offense. It's no longer the Mahomes and Kelsey show. It's the Mahomes and Rice show. 43.7% of the team's receiving yards so far. That's in weeks 1 through 3. 40.6% of first read targets. So it's very clear who Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are trying to get the football to. 15 first downs this season. That's actually equal to all other Chiefs wide receivers and tight ends combined. So he's got 15. The rest of the Chiefs receivers and tight ends also have 15. So yeah, missing Rashee Rice is huge. He's been the entire passing offense. Obviously, I'm exaggerating there. So what happened last week then? They were matched up against a Chargers defense that's looking really good. Chargers are looking like they might be a top 5 defense, which is crazy. How did Patrick Mahomes play without Rashee Rice in that game? Well, he was actually pretty good. 19 of 29, 245 yards, 8.4 yards per attempt, 89 passer rating. I mean, he didn't set the world on fire, but he certainly wasn't bad. Definitely a good sign that Mahomes was able to get Travis Kelce and Worthy involved, because in weeks 1 through 3, those two guys combined for just 14 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown. In week 4 alone, they had 10 catches for 162 and a touchdown. So we saw as much production from Kelce and Worthy in week 4 than we had seen from them the entire season up to that point. So without Rashee Rice, with him being on the IR, definitely a huge sign. Definitely a positive sign if you're a Chiefs fan. You love to see that. Still, though, this Chiefs offense has been a bit underwhelming. Not that it's been terrible, but looking like an average to slightly above average offense. I mean, they're 15th in yards per play, 3rd in success rate, 14th in EPA, 10th in DVOA. Passing numbers average, slightly above average. And just like Derek Carr in the Saints offense, Mahomes is going to be tested in this one. This Saints defense is looking really good, specifically against the pass. If you look at their efficiency numbers in terms of yardage, the raw data, 20th, 14th, and 26th. But if you look at some advanced metrics, I mean, they've run a ton of defensive snaps up huge on the scoreboard, which obviously skews the numbers. I mean, look at their passing numbers. 4th in success rate per dropback, 4th in EPA, 3rd in pass defense DVOA. So this is a very good pass defense. Also, they've been generating pressure this year. 7th in pressure rate, 11th in pass rush grade, 17th in adjusted sack rate. And that's one thing we've seen from the Chiefs this season. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, since he took over the starting job, he's basically had a top 6 or 7 pass protection every single year. Look at their numbers this year. Just 18th in pressure rate allowed, 17th in pass blocking grade. They haven't been terrible, but this is no longer an elite pass protection, or at least it hasn't looked like it so far this season. And what have we seen from Patrick Mahomes last year and even this year as well? He's been struggling to handle pressure a little bit. I mean, 13th the pressure to sack rate is solid. He's still elusive. He's still able to get away from pass rushers, but look at the passer rating, 66.1 when pressure. That's 20th in the NFL. Turnover-worthy play rate. This is a problem. 31st, 5.9%, 4% when given a clean pocket. Turnovers have become a problem here for Mahomes, and I think that Saints pass rush is going to be able to generate pressure in this game. Mahomes is really going to have to be careful with the football in this one. Now, we know the Saints are going to be running man coverage because that's what Dennis Allen and the Saints defense do. Just 7th most in the NFL this year. I expect it to be higher than that moving forward. 35.5% man coverage frequency. Now, good news for Chiefs fans, Mahomes is doing a much better job throwing the ball in man coverage this year. In fact, he's actually been better against man coverage than zone. The reason that's good news is last year, Patrick Mahomes was pretty bad against man coverage. So if this was last year, this matchup against the Saints would be pretty worrisome. This year, he's got a 103.8 pass rating against man, 7.57 air net yards per attempt. Here's the problem. Who's the best man coverage beater on the team? Rashee Rice, who's obviously not playing. He's on the IR. 31.3% target share versus man coverage. So when Mahomes sees man coverage, he looks to throw the ball to Rashee Rice. Obviously, that's not an option. He's not playing in this game. And I'm a little worried here because the Saints have some corners, man. Adebo's good as hell. Obviously, the Ohio State kid. What the hell's his name? Lattimore. Wow. It's one of the best corners in the league. So Adebo's good as hell. Lattimore. They've got corners. And without Rashee Rice, I mean, do the Chiefs have receivers that can win their one-on-one battles against these corners? A little worried about that. So as a whole, I don't think this is a great matchup for Patrick Mahomes. I think he may struggle to throw the ball against the Saints man coverage. But what about the run game? Because that's the weakness of the Saints defense. Will the Chiefs be able to run the ball here? So far, they've been, just 22nd in yards per carry, but some advanced metrics indicate the rushing attack's been pretty efficient. 2nd in success rate, 10th in EPA per rush, 11th in rushing DVOA. So the rushing attack has been efficient, although the yardage numbers haven't really been there. Saints run defense is the weakness of the team, like I said. They're just 26th in yards per carry, although the advanced metrics indicate that they're better than that. Still, the pass defense is a strength for the Saints, not the run defense. Chiefs' offensive line has done a great job creating space. 4th in adjusted line yards, 11th in run blocking grade, 20th in yards before contact. That could be a little better. But still, they definitely have the advantage over the Saints' defensive line, 18th, 17th, 28th. So on paper here, looks like there may be some space for the Chiefs to run the ball, but there's no Pacheco. Pacheco's not playing in this game, and Kareem Hunt is banged up. Now, he participated in a full practice, so pretty sure Kareem Hunt's going to play. But still, no question, the Chiefs' run game is definitely hindered here without Pacheco. And another thing I don't really like for the Chiefs' run game here, unlike the Saints who are running nothing but zone blocking schemes, Chiefs are running gap, 9th most in the NFL. Want to know who has a great defense against gap rushing concepts? The Saints. 7th, that's in frequency. 4th in yards per carry allowed, 15th in success rate. So although the Saints' run defense hasn't been great, they have been great at the type of rushing schemes that Kansas City runs. That might be a good matchup for the Saints. Here's the problem. They're banged up on the defensive side as well. It's not just the offensive line that's banged up for the Saints. Willie Gay's not going to play in this game. Now, I think Demario Davis is going to play. He's participating in practice. But Pete Werner, he missed Saturday's practice, so I don't know if he's going to play. So the Saints are banged up in the linebacking core as well, making this one really tough to make a prediction. So where does that leave us in terms of placing a bet? Well, I actually already bet this game. I bet it early in the week. I took the Saints at plus 5.5. It's one of those where, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, Chiefs offense is not playing well enough. There's no Rice. No way I could lay 5.5 points. Bet the Saints. Now that I'm seeing the Saints injury report unfold and looking at the matchup, don't necessarily like it for Derek Carr and the Saints offense. I'm not going to buy out of my position. I'm sticking with the Saints at plus 5.5. But to be honest, I think the best bet in this one is probably just take the under at 43.5. I think both offenses have some really rough matchups. So I like the under, 43.5. Like I said, I do have a Saints plus 5.5 ticket. I'm letting it rock. I'll be rooting for the Saints. Hopefully I cover that. But I'm going to put a few more dollars down on the under as well. So Saints and under for me. Live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do some touchdown scores, some props, maybe talk about some college football games coming up. We got a lot of midweek college football games, big weekend in college football coming up, even though I don't know why you would want my advice on that. I'm joking, but it has been bad. But yeah, so the live shows at 4 p.m. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good Monday Night Football here. Let's finish the week strong. Please remember to bet responsibly. Talk to you in the Discord.